Hey, blasphemers, welcome to Simple Blasphemy, where we have the best times with the worst topics.
We're three friends that discuss everything and nothing, from wacky headlines to games and trivia. All subjects bizarre and risque are on the table.
Our weekly guests range from friends, musicians, and artists to professionals in a variety of industries.
We go live on Facebook and YouTube every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Want to support the show? Join our Patreon. You can find it and more at www.simpleblasphemy.com.
So grab a drink and join it!
It's too late now. This is Simple Blasphemy.
Yeah!
Wow, look at you, Andy. Hey, blasphemers, hang tight. We already skipped that part, didn't we?
Nope.
We're messing stuff up here. I'm messing stuff up here. Welcome to the Simple Blasphemy Podcast, all you blasphemers out there. My name is Zach Ward, and I have here with me always Andy's, who is muted. Give him a second. Hold on. Wait for it.
Wait.
No. Oh.
Hi. I like to fuck with you every once in a while.
And Mr. Zach Green, the machine.
I'm tired and disenchanted today. I don't know why.
All the info on the show can be found at simpleblasphemy.com. And if you click that like, share, and subscribe button, you'll receive what this week, Andy?
The power of Cyclops from the X-Men.
Okay. We're talking eyes.
All kinds of shit's getting cut in half randomly.
I thought you were about to say Huey Lewis's Power of Love.
Oh, okay. Maybe we'll save that for next week. Here we go. Panda is our special guest. And tonight's episode is all about, for the most part, tattoos. Mike, you are a tattoo artist. Back in 2014, I believe, you started Ink and Iron Tattoo here in Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah. Woo-hoo.
How in the hell, what happened to you that led you up to starting your own tattoo parlor?
I started off at On the Edge in Bowling Green. I tattooed there for, I don't know, 6 months, 7 months, something like that. And I went through a really bad breakup. So I ended up moving down to Columbus. And I was down there for a long time, met my wife. And it was so easy to be like a kid there because we were going out every night and partying and hanging out and all that jazz. So long story short, I didn't want to tattoo underneath anybody there. I didn't want to compete with my boss down there. So I moved back to good old Toledo and opened Ink and Iron downtown.
Again, the swamp always brings you back.
Yeah. So also on top of all this, Mike has graciously given us two gift cards that Jeff Wynn, one of our Patreons, was a reciprocant of. So we do thank you. Thank you.
What did Jeff win? He's been on our show before. What did he get done?
I don't remember exactly.
Did he get a big like Mike Watt anchor?
No, he got so many different. He's gotten so many tattoos recently. I don't know which one he actually got at Ink and Iron. I don't properly remember.
He came at a revenue with 0 tattoos though, didn't he?
No, he had quite a few. Julio's in the chat. What's happening, Julio?
Yo!
So
I think it's pretty rad that his last name is Wynn and he won.
He did.
Yeah.
It's Win like the Las Vegas Wins too.
So let's walk us through, what was your whole trying to find the right spot? I mean, where there's how do you start to build a clientele? I mean, you used to live here, of course, so you had a lot of friends, and I knew that you? I'm assuming some people probably went down to Columbus to get a tattoo from you.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty humbling. I kind of got cocky, so I thought, oh, I'm just gonna move to Toledo, and everybody was gonna come. All my old homies are gonna come get tattooed. I don't know if I just sucked really bad 7 years ago, or if people had just had to like check me out, make sure that it was all copacetic. But I was still living in Columbus, and I was doing 3 days down there, and then I was basically trying to find a spot back up here. Scott Biddle was working with me pretty hard, trying to help me find a spot, and he had said, hey, have you checked out Adams Street? And like when I left, there was like Pub St. George was down there, Manhattan's was down there, and that was it. So I was kind of like, I don't know. But I've been talking to another gentleman in Maumee, and I was actually supposed to sign a lease and the whole nine right next to Penguin Palace, right on River Road.
Oh yeah. And
he ghosted me when it came time to like sign the lease and all the jazz. I was going to live upstairs and then tattoo downstairs. And it probably is the best thing that ever happened for Ink and Iron. We went on Adams Street, at like 12:30 at night. I shined my little flashlight camera phone through the window. There was like bars on this window, and it was like very not welcoming at all. And it was 12:30 at night. So I'm like squinting through there. There was a bunch of crap all over the place. And I was like, yo, this is where Ink and Iron needs to be.
A little bit of bleach.
Dude.
A little bit of bleach.
Lots of hepatitis. Tetanus,
I love the shop. I love the layout. I've received my latest 2 tattoos, which has been some time, but at Ink and Iron. So I appreciate Mike and his work. But there's things that we need to get to. We definitely are going to have to cover boobs and penises and butts and things like that everybody wants to know about tattooing. And but we also have some myths that we got to go over. And then we are going to see
tattoo.
A what?
Oh, I just froze Zach by saying clit tattoo.
Oh,
I know that.
Clit tattoo, Barada, Nikto.
Yeah, but we also want to. We're gonna have a little thing here where Mike's gonna do an appraisal. This is almost like one of those what are the pawn shop things, or Mike's gonna give an appraisal on some tattoos that I found around the internet. And just as a quick example of one so you can get an idea of kind of where we're headed, we'll go something like this and say, Mike, in your opinion, looking at the detail and all that stuff, what would you say something like that would cost? Because also the price of tattoos is always a thing that, especially new people, it's like, or do like sticker shock, or is this one of those things that you should budget? I mean, or whatever. So I found a couple tattoo myths, and if you could just address them, I'm sure you get these all the time, and let's just have fun with it. Also, anybody in the chat that has questions, I know Julio will, please feel free to just type them in the chat, and we will, as long as they're appropriate, we will get to them. And here we go.
What the fuck's appropriate?
Well, it's
penis, dick, fart, cunt.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I don't get to all of them basically.
Oh yeah, okay.
Or I can't read that fast because I'm slow.
Sorry for saying cunt.
So, Ink and Iron tattoo, Mike. Here we go. Myth number 1: the lighter colors hurt more than the darker colors.
False.
Okay.
Everybody hates white in tattoos. Like if you're getting a big piece, nobody wants white. But that's just because you've tattooed the entire surface area. So going back in and hitting this spot and then hitting this spot and then hitting this spot, it just sucks. Nobody likes it. But as far as the depth goes, everything needs to go the same depth. So there's not one that hurts more than the other. I will say there are some that I have to work slower. So maybe you could say it's not bullshit, but for the most part, I would say it's bullshit.
Can you educate us on how far that needle gun has to go to. I mean, because sometimes, like for instance, my very first tattoo that I got when I was around 18, I don't think the guy was very experienced, and it really started to fade and bleed kind of quickly. And my thought was, well, maybe he didn't like do the lines properly or something like that. Can you speak to that?
Yeah. So the big thing with tattooing is you really want to hit right above the third layer of skin. So I'm going to get super nerdy.
Sure.
You got, your epidermis, your dermis, your subcutaneous. I want it to sit right on that second layer. So if I go into the third layer, then that's when you get like blowouts. But naturally, your tattoos will all blow out. There's nothing you can ever do. You've seen that 75-year-old, old vet that you're like, I don't even know what the hell that tattoo is. It's because naturally your body will start breaking up the tattoo pigment. And as your body is breaking up the tattoo pigment, those lines will start to get bigger and bigger and bigger over time. So when I tattoo, there's an old phrase that says bold will hold. So I always try to go nice thick lines, and I leave plenty of space so that even as it starts to bleed out, you're going to know 15, 20 years from now what the hell that looks like.
Okay. That was awesome.
Yep.
Can you also myth or, just questions or whatnot? I don't know if it's a
Myth busted.
Myth busted. Can you speak upon just like how expensive and what makes things expensive as it relates to tattoos? And the other one that kind of I think falls in line with it is it seems like when I first started going, or I went with a couple other friends to get theirs, the tattoo artist always tries to make you go bigger, which always seems to be more expensive. But in some cases, when you're talking about that expansion and just aging, it would seem to me like something with really small lines and small detail over time, if it was bigger, it might hold its integrity longer. So can you touch upon how tattoos are, the cost of them, and why they cost what they do? Even if it's like some guy that randomly goes to people's houses, you could start at tier number oopsie doopsie number 1 and kind of move
the old kitchen magician.
I got a couple of those specials on me, actually.
Yeah,
dude. Same.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, no, it's good to hear that a tattoo artist has them because,
I mean, so let me just start off the rip. So with Amazon and eBay and all of these internet shopping places, you've kind of taken the specialness out of tattooing, because now y'all could go get whatever you want and start tattooing 2 days from now with Prime.
right.
So the hard part is that in Lucas County, there is no class that you have to pass. So to be a legit tattoo artist in Toledo, you need your bloodborne pathogens and your first aid certification. That's it. So y'all could go get that online today and be legal tattooers at some scratcher shop tomorrow.
no.
And the same with
no.
guitar technicians. You don't need any schooling.
Yeah, I've married dozens of people, and I don't have any skill. So yes, I get it.
But yeah, so
Andy's right about that.
I heard this great thing. Pablo Picasso, he's sitting at a coffee shop, and he is doodling on a napkin. And as he's doodling on this napkin, this woman is just enamored by it. And, he finishes his coffee and he's getting up and he goes to crumple up the napkin. And as he goes to crumple up the napkin to throw it away, she goes, "Oh, no. Can I have that?" And he goes, "Yeah, for sure. $20,000. And she was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, $20,000. She goes, "But it only took you, 15 minutes to do that." He goes, "No, it took me 60 years to do that."
Yep.
So,
Exactly.
when you start talking about pricing for tattoos, the big thing for me is, what are you paying for? I'm a huge snob about who tattoos me, because I know what I want. I don't really care if you've been tattooing 5 days or 50 years. I know what I want. So I can look at your tattoo and I can say, okay, the 3 things that are the most important in tattoo land, right? Solid lines, solid saturation, and great composition. If you can hit those 3 notes on paper, then when it comes to tattooing, you have a leg up.
It's just a different medium, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, you have different things, right? Like if I'm a roofer, my skin is way worse than if I'm an IT tech. You know,
wait a minute. How did you know?
that beautiful pasty skin.
Let's
man.
just look at the pasty skin. I bet I could tattoo you with my eyes and a strong gaze.
Can you please help me put this piece of couch into my van?
Right.
Help me.
But yeah, so I think when you start talking about the intricacies of pricing, it really breaks down to what's the value. And I know that I bring a tremendous value to the table. But I started off after my apprenticeship at $100 an hour. And in almost 12 years of tattooing, I've only ever raised my prices once. It's not that my value hasn't increased. I just think I was overvalued before. So I sit at $125 an hour. And it doesn't matter if you're, my brother or whoever. That's the value I put on my time. So if I'm tattooing you for 2 hours, I'm saying $250. That's it. And
put that shit in my hand.
Right.
And that goes with like even house painters too. It's like if you want the best of the best, I really like the way you explain that. You're literally paying for all of the experience.
I remember this one time some kid seen me build a guitar in the backyard. I was building my flame guitar and I was airbrushing it. And the kid goes, "Hey, can you make me one?" I'm like, "Yeah, how much money you got?" He's like, "Man, you mean I gotta pay for it?"
Yeah, dude.
Just because I make it doesn't mean like, "Oh yeah, let me make you one." Oh, there you go.
Let me just magic this up for you really quick.
Yeah,
but think of like the It Might Get Loud, that documentary, and Jack White comes along and he has that crude plank, and then he takes a guitar string around 2 nails, and then he jams a Coke bottle in, and he puts a little pickup, and he's like, "Who says you need $500 for a guitar?" The whole thing is that that's a guitar. It covers all the pieces, right? Now, it doesn't mean that it's a Zach Green guitar. So it's like, there's a different level of what you've got. And Jack White might put a $500 value on that plank of wood. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's between you and that transaction.
Right.
So I don't ever get like pissed off if somebody came at me and was like, "Hey, dude, I don't think you're worth that," or "I don't want to pay that." I'm like, "It's okay." Like,
so
nice
I actually have people I can refer you to if you want me to.
100%.
Yeah.
So Julio says, was Michael an illustrator, a graphics artist before tattooing? So why don't you go with your college background? I believe you were a UT graphics student, was it?
Well, so I actually started off at Bowling Green years and years and years ago. And I went through the arts program there. I was actually going to do art therapy when I was young, and we don't have to get into all this. It's for a different, sadder podcast. But I had a hard time articulating how I felt, and art really helped me for all that. So since I was a little kid, I've always drawn, and I'm a very emotive artist. So if I'm like super happy, I'm typically drawing like super bubblegum poppy stuff. And if I'm super pissed off, it's like heads getting ripped off and skulls and whatever, So when I went to college, I just never really found my footing. I never really enjoyed my time there. I love learning, but I didn't love like the first class I ever got kicked out of, for example, was my sociology class at BG. and they're talking in generalities. That's sociology to its core. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, not all black people like fried chicken. Like this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And then my teacher's like, no, that's how sociology works. And I'm like, well, your class is stupid. Like, so I went through just a bunch of stuff like that. And it was like, dude, like, this isn't where I need to be. So I actually had some other businesses that I tried. I did a clothing line for a little bit. I was a wedding photographer for a while. I've done pretty much anything with any art form that I could and tried to make money. My first business ever, I was like 8 years old, and I drew pictures of nothing but cartoon characters and went around door to door and sold them for like 10 cents, quarter, whatever.
Oh, wow.
Mike, did you ever take the Myers-Briggs personality test?
Yeah.
Now,
I'm a huge futurist.
Okay, so you're a huge futurist, but like, did you get to the other part of where like, you got to the list of the things that you should be doing?
If I did, I don't remember it. I just remember that like futurist was like.
Go back and take the Myers-Briggs one more time, because it took me like 20 years to take it again, and I found that I had checked off almost everything on the list on the way.
Oh, I thought you said jacked off.
I jacked off to everything on the list. Seriously, I'm an ENTF jack off, or whatever the fuck they're calling it.
Rag of
But
tight
seriously,
bond
go
glue.
back and look at it just so you can see all the things that you've already checked off, because it was extremely eye-opening for me.
I dig that.
Because you seem to have a direction. You really do. But I think that it seems like you may have been lily padding and going from place to place. All good, solid jumps on the lily pad until you get to the place where you're at now.
Yeah, I mean, and honestly, I don't think I'm done yet. I think this is just kind of a catalyst for me to keep continuing to expand.
It sounds like a table reading, Andy. All right.
Andy, can you fail that?
Him,
Can you fail that test? Is that a test you can fail? Because I think I would fail it.
You want to try?
Yeah.
We should do that on the podcast.
Dude, I got a shitload of assessments that if you, as friends, I'll give you all these assessments. And
all
I'll
right,
score
so
all
hey,
of them.
let's get back to some of these myths. We got a lot of show to cover here. We still got name that, price that tattoo, and we've got some. And I'll tell you what. Why don't we just take a breather on these myths real quick and put up one of your tattoos, just so we can start giving some visual examples. Maybe you can kind of talk about this one.
So this is a great example of somebody who's just like, this is what I want, and I want you to do what you do with it. So this is on an inner bicep. So at the top you can't really see, but that's like his armpit hair at the very top. But I had drawn up this piece for a buddy of his, and his buddy got a version of that tattoo, and he was like, dude, I love everything about that. I need that tattoo. And I was like, well, you can't have that tattoo, so I'll draw you another one.
Yeah.
So that's like my Zombie Sailor 2.0.
Nice.
It took me
Which was a
about
horrible anime, by the way.
And by the way, folks, like and share this one and share the love for Panda over here and Ink and Iron. So if you're digging this show, people can get more personal instead of just talking quickly over the phone, because I believe you are appointment only, right? Because of COVID still. So share this stuff for Mike in the Ohio and Michigan and however people need to travel. So the next myth or topic to talk about: tattooing names are bad luck.
I like to call it job security.
Okay.
Never once have I had a tattoo where the person got like a significant other's name and not said, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Now,
do you try to Dr. Phil it?
One of my all-time favorite tattoo stories from my entire career, this woman comes in and she wants basically like right above her hood tattooed, right? So she she's like, I want.
We're talking about a clitoral hood, then.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okie dokie.
And she wants the words Mr. Mickens, which is her boyfriend's nickname for her vagina.
Mr.
Mr. I have no idea. I'm like, okay.
Mickens.
So I draw up this like super squirrely script, right? This like beautiful flowy
Cliff the Clip.
And I'm like, okay, here you go. And she goes, no. Like, that's too soft. It needs to be tougher. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Impact font. Go.
So I draw up like the most like rock and roll, hardcore, heavy Old English letters. And, you know, it's cracking and crumbling and it looks just gnarly.
Okay.
So I tattoo this thing. It's black as night. I send her out the door. She left. Now, this is where her story kicks in. So she leaves to go surprise her boyfriend.
Hey, hold on 1 second before we get to the surprise. Hold on. No, we skipped.
It was going to break up with her that night anyway.
Oh, we skipped a whole lot. So you literally tattooed a woman's clitorical hood.
Clitorical.
Well, above
this is a clitorical question.
The marquee.
So explain
if she's standing, it's the swimsuit V.
Okay, so I can hear everybody in the chat asking you, okay? How did you hold steady?
No, you don't hold the thing. It's not your labia.
How do you? It would like the hood would start.
Well, and that's the other side, man. Is like you don't know.
Do you pin it down?
Where the vibration is going, but I'm a professional, you know.
Did that ever happen?
That's big.
There are a lot of people in general that love attention while they're getting tattooed.
Uh-huh.
So it's one of those like, are you really feeling this way, or are you just trying to get everybody in the shop to pay attention to you?
Oh, so you haven't had anybody go goo.
All right, so
not that I know of.
Okay, this brings up a really good question. When you are talking about a body part that is deemed private, such as a boobie, or like a scrotum, or a penis, or a butthole, or a taint, come on, get all the words out, everybody. Do you have to like somehow get consent, like, and make sure that like your bases are covered, that someone lady gets mad and just says he inappropriately touched me, but it's like I'm tattooing your fucking.
That's
I'll be totally right.
That is a giant fear of mine.
Okay.
In 2021, where everybody has the ability to just get called out, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm. How do you cover your bases?
It's very difficult to make sure that you are acting appropriately. You know, I'm not a victim shame sort of person. If you feel uncomfortable, like, you need to let me know, and I will fix it right this minute.
Nope, that's good.
But I tell everybody right off the rip, like, you know, you've been to our shop, Zach. It's completely open. So
Zach, you've had your vulva tattooed. It's fine.
But if you're getting like a sensitive spot tattooed, you know, everybody in the shop is there. You know, so it's like you're out in the open. If on the small occasion that look like I'm going to get, you know, my penis tattooed, and I'm like, I don't want everybody looking at my penis while it's getting tattooed, I'll lock the front door and I'll make sure that I have at least like a witness on my behalf there with me.
A courtesy curtain. Do you have like a courtesy curtain?
I really don't. I really should get something like that, but I have that like wall separator, so like people off the street aren't like just gawking in,
drinking their coffee, looking in the windows.
Right. Look at that.
All right, so how do you
going in for confession?
Just let me rephrase this. How do you ask? Do you ask for consent? Like, hey, I'm about to touch your boob.
Listen, I'm about to push
and
your button.
I'm at the hold it. It doesn't look, especially if they're not firm boobs. Like, say you got like a pancake one.
I've been there.
And you know, I mean, when you squeeze it, there isn't.
Well, it's not squeezing, right? Like, there's nothing like.
We'll hold it steady. We'll call
Applying.
Hold it steady.
Like think of like a mammogram, right? It's just like pressing down. Like
Do you use painter's tape and just kind of like?
But there are some gross boobs in this world that I have tattooed.
Guys and girls.
Guys and girls.
Hey, I'm just being fair.
But yeah, so you stretch it, you be professional. I try not to be like icky about it. You know what I mean? Like,
what about people that smell bad?
What'd you say?
People that smell bad.
Oh, dude.
Like if you got somebody that comes in and says, "I really want,"
like swimsuit area, have I had an issue with that? But
really good.
100%.
Armpits.
The armpits are the worst, bro.
And you got to deal with that for like hours.
I'll tattoo like a rib, so I have to be right here, and I'm just like right in. Now with the mask, at least it's a little bit better where I don't have to smell.
Right in the funk.
But
pandemic upside.
Like if I was tattooing your ribs and your armpit smelled, I 100% will take like alcohol and just wipe way further up.
Hell yeah!
Just to try to
black thinner, baby.
I have to be there for sometimes 3, 4, 5 hours. Like I don't want to smell that all day.
You're very tasteful in your approach. Then you just I just got to wipe a little bit up.
Is that an extra
up here up to your wrist? It's fine. It's fine. We just in case we want to go higher.
Is there a hygiene charge then? Like, do you?
Oh my gosh!
Does the alcohol work? Don't you need like that, like the soap, like that?
Well, I have green soap that Dr. Bronner's. It's like an all natural soap that I use during the tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
But I clean the skin first with alcohol. Okay. So if I'm like, just kind of like scoot up a little bit higher to make
it's gonna tickle. It's gonna tickle a bit.
Little tick.
Greg has a question. My buddy Greg Brown, tuning in all the way down in Florida. Have you ever said absolutely no to a tattoo? Now I'll give you my first tattoo story. It was next to Frankie's on the east side. I went to go down. Joe was the singer of the Porn Flakes. He was a tattoo artist. And I am a ripe 18-year-old child, still in high school. And I was by myself in the shop, getting my first tattoo. I was the only one in the shop with my bandmate. And this guy comes in looking like he had, at some point, had a lot of fun going on. And he was pretty wired up, to say. And he came in, he says, "How much did it cost to get fuck the world across my forehead?" And Joe kind of had to walk him back and say, "Hey man, why would you want that?" And try to walk him out of it, and basically ended up saying no. I mean, I'm not tattooing "fuck the world" on your forehead. Mike, have you ever had something where you had to say no to?
100%.
Oh,
so I'm really, I won't say against, but I'm very particular about face tattoos across the board.
Okay.
Which has to be difficult these days.
Well, everybody's getting like crappy ones. I mean, use Post Malone for example. Like his Very Tired is just bad tattooing.
Yeah.
Like it could be a dope tattoo, and you're Post Malone, so you could go get that figured out. Like
you could
cleaned up.
Yeah.
To have a little post work done.
Right.
Get it?
Post.
Get it?
It writes itself.
If not, I'll give you a Malone. No, but
is the
so
loan
anyway,
the same thing it meant back?
Be
in
able
19...
to give some like specific examples of what people envision.
Great example. Did you guys ever watch X-Files?
Oh God, it's been forever, but yeah.
Okay, so like on X-Files, there was the Sasquatch episode, and in the episode, there's a quick doodle of Sasquatch on a napkin. We talk a lot about napkins today, but anyway.
Filled with pipe bond.
But so there's this like super sketchy sketch of Sasquatch on this napkin, and this girl had wanted it on her sideburn, like
yeah, absolutely,
like here, and
that's
and
fucking
like,
hot.
Like I love pop culture tattoos, but I was like, "Yo, you don't want that," and she was like, "No, I do." And I was like, I'm not the guy for that piece. And that's my go-to phrase. It's like, I don't want to dog you. If that's what you want, cool. But I'm 100% like that where it's like, I'm not
the person that's going to do it.
How old was this person? about?
Who cares?
20 maybe. Like,
all right. So Melissa
young.
Stevens is in the chat. She says, "Do you do photorealistic flowers?"
Yeah. How realistic do you get?
So realism is one of those things where people are like typically no outline. They are using like your skin as contrast.
Right.
A lot of that stuff doesn't hold up super well because people aren't rooted in good color theory. So I'm a big proponent of, if you want something super hyper photorealistic, it'll cost you. It'll be a lot of money, but it's something that we would work in probably at least 2 sessions, depending on how big you wanted to get with it. And typically, again, going back to your first point, the bigger you get, the better it can be, because I'm tricking the eye so you don't have your skin tone as a mid ground.
Okay, so when you look at stuff like the pirate tattoos and shit like that, flash work, like the really, really thick lines and stuff like that, there's a reason that has been synonymous with the idea of tattoo, is like the big thick heart with the big thick banner around the outside of it, because it just looks good, and it's going to look good for a long time. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so like, back in the early 2000s, they were doing this thing, and they actually kind of went too far into that, where they were going like, if this is the banner we're doing, they were putting solid saturation all the way from side to side. And the problem is that you're
just
not
above the butt crack.
Just right up the butt crack.
It's called an ass hat.
Called the Godsmack tattoo.
Ass hat.
Oh my God. Some guy just came and got the Godsmack sun around his belly button. Swear on everything.
Oh no! Oh no!
No, it's okay. It's okay.
I mean, I've got the Pearl Jam tattoo on my arm, but that doesn't mean that I'm good. No.
Yeah, it does. That's what it means.
That doesn't mean the same
Get
thing, really.
back!
Yeah. I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was trying to be funny.
Just trying to riff on me.
All right. Well, hey, we already almost the 40-minute marker. We got a lot of ground to cover.
Hit me.
So, last question, Mike. And we've kind of touched about this, but we're just gonna put a pin in this question. Are tattoos forever?
No.
Oh my.
Okay.
And why?
Well, it's just all about how dope of a tattooer you are. Where is it at on the body, all that jazz. Right now, single needle stuff is like super in fashion. And it looks cool right now, but the hard part is that, years down the road, I think it's going to keep getting lighter and lighter, going back to what we were talking about with the molecule.
I was going to ask you about that.
All right.
It's not sustainable.
Okay.
Let me throw a couple more pictures up of stuff that you've done. And for Melissa in the chat, I hope you're still there. And by the way, folks, share and like this thing so other people can see. This one's a good one.
You want to share and Lois and Bram the fuck out of this.
So, yeah. So here's a flower on a hand that
there you go.
Mike sent over.
See, I like that a lot.
Can you give a little background on this?
Yeah, so that's actually a cover-up.
Okay.
So, long story short, that took probably about 4.5, almost 5 hours, which is pretty baller for her to sit through all of that in one session. But again, I'm using skin breaks. I'm using solid saturation, good line work, try to make dope composition out of it so that it looks aesthetically pleasing. Yeah, I really like that tattoo, and it healed out awesome.
It shows a lot of your actual design acumen in that. You're a lot of your graphic design, the digital stuff really comes through.
Let me pull up another one. I got this one off Facebook, Mike, so apologize for
no, it's okay.
blinding you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna burn this nipple, and
yeah,
I'm gonna eat that nipple.
So this dude is a good example of me going a different direction than what he wanted, and him absolutely loving it. So this gentleman said he wanted, at first he wanted an American traditional eagle which this is not an American traditional eagle. This is more neo-traditional, I would say, because of the color palette. But at any rate, he came at me and he wanted it very symmetrical. He wanted it right on his chest. He wanted it kind of small. And I drew this up and he was like, yo, that is so much cooler than what I was thinking. And the whole reason is that like having the asymmetry to it, having the flames come out and just kind of mixing it up, it makes it his. That's a big part for me. Like I want every single person to have something that is 100% of me and 100% of them. And that amalgamation really makes it rad.
All right. So, Mike, this next tattoo, I asked if Mike was so kind to show his tattoo. And Mike showed me this last year at the Village Idiot, but it wasn't quite this complete.
Right.
So here we go. Look at that.
Holy shit.
Look at that little butt crack.
Oh my God. Well, you know what?
Butt crack.
You know what?
Yeah. Get us in trouble, Facebook.
It's a really big thing to where you can say, look at that butt crack, but look at all that shit around that butt crack.
So can you set now? Is this one of the artists that you really like admired, and that's where this started?
God. So I met him at a tattoo convention in Jersey, and we started this project a little bit over 3 years ago. He lives in Colorado, so it's a little bit hard for me to get out there on a regular basis. So the skeleton and everything in the middle was done in 4 days. So I did 4 days back to back to back.
No pun intended.
Back to butt crack.
It was four 9-hour sessions on that. And then I actually just got back last week from the stuff on the shoulder blades and around. So all that stuff that you're seeing in that is fresh. So we did 2 days back to back of
shoulder blades are great. That's just really seriously the depth
in
that is
just the way it all.
He's a stud. He's only been tattooing like 6 years. So he's like
it looks like something out of Bloodborne.
So yeah, it's neat to see an artist, seek out another artist and say, hey, I really like that guy's thing, and and even when I knew I wanted to start to get more tattoos, and I looked at other, different people's things, and I got one at a different shop, and I don't know, I just wasn't confident, and I thought the design was simple enough that I don't really care who the hell did it, but when then things started to getting a little bit more personal and more intricate for me, it's like okay, I'd rather just I want to feel very, very confident walking in, and I want to feel confident walking out. And I'm not just saying that because Mike's on the podcast. I mean, this is just how I operated with Ink and Iron. This is what it is, regardless if he's on the podcast or not. Because you can see even in the examples, it's just amazing work. And
Thank you very much. That's super nice.
It really is.
Well, that's just what it is, and I think that's what a lot of people how they feel. So let's go into some. Well, let me just pull up the little game thing here, folks. So this will be fun. What's the price, bitch?
Oh my God! Look at those teeth.
That guy's jacking off in the audience.
Oh my God! I've missed him.
Oh my God! All
that
that
face,
Mike. What I suggest you maybe to do is to maybe make a tattoo of that dude's face.
His name is Christopher.
Maybe drawing and put it up on your site as a possible something somebody in Toledo can buy.
Text me that photo and I'll make it happen.
Can you tattoo that on Zach Ward's left butt cheek?
Deal.
And right butt cheek.
I like to show.
I want them screaming at each other.
Mike, actually, I should have had it ready. Mike did the cover of one of my songs that I released, Your Last Dream, about a year ago or so. And Jody gave me the approval to get at least a half sleeve with that as the kind of the centerpiece, and we're kind of going to work around it. But that is
so rad.
A later time. So let's take a look. I've got 5 photographs of different tattoos and different, you know, this one, the first one we saw, obviously the guy's chest. I got like a someone doing portraits and cartoons, and we're just gonna kind of, if you could gauge your best idea how much something like this would cost, and maybe talk about why things do cost. Like you could point out, this is what makes these things cost a little bit more. Here we go. Number one.
So that dude probably has 70 hours of tattoo work on him, just between his arms and his chest.
Damn.
So figure out like a full sleeve like that's probably around 30 hours, something like that. So he has 2 of those and then probably another 10, 12 hours on his chest. So, you know, at let's just say $100 an hour, just to make it easy, you're looking at probably $7,000 in tattoos there.
Yeah, I was gonna say about $7,500. Wow,
Man,
it's good too.
Those kind of,
rad.
I'm not talking about financially speaking, but do tattoo artists particularly, they like those kind of projects, or is it
Totally
easier
depends.
to do little ones? And you know,
So like I'm the cat. I like that wow factor, you know. I like when I take off my shirt, like we went to Kalahari, you know, I like that wow factor. I like the holy crap, that's on your back. I'm like, yeah, you know,
all
like
right. So
I like me some Kalahari too.
here's tattoo number 2. Now we're kind of getting into, this one's a cartoon. And again,
better be
if you just
Taz.
point out what the details are and how much
Tweety.
this would go for.
Oh Jesus Christ!
um
Oh, what the fuck?
I think I had an artist at my shop that used to do stuff like that.
Simba, don't touch me ever again.
Mike, could you start with the line work?
Dude, terrible saturation, terrible line work, terrible composition.
3 or 4 infections. That's not red ink, ladies and gentlemen.
That dude hated his day the next day. I guarantee it.
Julio says $10.99.
Dude, you know what I love? You know what I love about it is Mufasa's eyes. That's my favorite part.
So, like, what would something like this go for? I'm just saying on the street price.
About a C- in
price.
3rd grade art class.
This is solid. I would say probably $150.
Oh God!
And that's
Hey,
a pretty big piece, though,
That's
right?
really good.
Bro.
I wouldn't even. That's really good. I wouldn't even be able to paint that good.
No,
It's
That's
a
really
it's a
good.
pretty big piece, all right.
You know, it actually could just conceivably be, you know, a case of beer.
I mean, that might be on purpose. You know,
All right.
there's music I play that sounds
A
so
case of-
bad, but
A case of beer and me using your dishwasher to take care of my needles.
All right.
I got to boil these real quick. Give me a second.
So, yeah, how long is
hey,
your?
what is the actual? I went when I was in a tattoo parlor years ago. There was the technical term for tattoo was up on the wall, and it had the word infection on it. Am I imagining this or? No,
I have no idea. That's
no. There's
Right.
there's a technical term for tattoo and what it is, in a scientific wording, and this dude had it up on the wall, and I was like, what the fuck is that? And he was basically saying, well, that's basically what a tattoo is. All right.
All right.
I mean,
maybe it was a different. Maybe it was I was on a different planet at that time. I don't know.
or
Tattoo-
maybe he
Sorry.
was trying to.
Sorry,
work too
man.
long.
The world has moved on, Zach Green.
I know.
Tattoo. We're getting close. Tattoo number 3. Now this is another. It looks like an arm piece. The lines look really, really good. What would
that's
you say
okay.
something like this? Why is it the price it is, and what the
Okay.
hell's the price in that?
So this sort of tattoo, hyper realism, from this sort of cat, you're talking probably $1,500, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Oh,
Now, I will tell you this is heavily photoshopped.
okay.
Yeah, that's. I'm going to say plus the $21.99 a month for the student Photoshop.
So if you look at like the edge where they put a vignette around the outside, like that's always a dead giveaway because it makes it look more contrasty.
Okay.
But the fact that you can't see any pores at all on that skin tells me that they push the contrast super hard in that tattoo.
All right, and that could
see, and
that
this
might
is where
even
a
be
graphic designer or a graphic artist is gonna fuck you on a bunch of
that
stuff.
that may have been just a Snapchat filter. I don't know. You can hold your arm up.
I
All
mean,
right.
with
Probably still looks good,
iPhones
though.
now, you can do that stuff right on your phone. Like you don't even hardly have to put it into Photoshop.
All right. Let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to tell you. We got 2 more to go, Mike. Now this is a portrait because
The
often
American
people get
family.
portraits and how much? Well, okay.
Wait a minute. Quaid.
All right. So
Wow,
again,
that's
hey,
beautiful.
even in the guitar business, we always hear that. Hey, my guy can. That's how,
You
and that's how the phrase "my guy can" and it goes, and then words fall out of someone's mouth. How much would you say this runs for? And the weird shadowing. Anyway, what are you thinking?
Again,
Well,
I'm thinking
I like the
infection.
artistic liberty of the toupee. I think that's really nice. That
Yeah.
toupee looks pretty slick. I would probably put a value on this of a 88 Monte Carlo.
Ooh. Ooh. Are you
Um,
sure it's not a Grand National? Wait a
it
minute,
could
those
be, it could be a Grand National. It hasn't ran in a couple years, and
Okay. Mike. Okay,
there
let
might
me.
be a family of squirrels.
Is that ballpoint pen that I'm seeing there, Mike?
Hey, let me rephrase this.
That looks.
All right.
It looks like it looks like a legit stencil that he at least had made.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Time out. What did this artist do wrong? Is there enough time?
Well, yeah. So, long story short, this is like a left side of a rib, like it's almost to the hip area there.
It looks like you can see part of a navel. I agree.
Yep. So, this actually might be the Lion King guy again.
Oh no!
Okay.
Just a different part of his body.
Carefully, may kill again.
Julia says a half bottle of tequila and my sister's phone number. That's how much that costs.
Wow.
Wow, yeah.
That's That's
All right. We have 1 more, and this one I came across and I was seriously amazed. So we already had 2 serious and 2 joking. The last one actually is cartoon work, and this next tattoo prompted me to do this. Like, well, how much does this actually cost? Because this looks way too detailed, but it's a legit tattoo. Here we go. It is
Oh my god!
literally a Simpsons motif on a guy's back, and this looks just like the cartoon.
We know a guy named Steve Wells. They call him Stezo, and he was a tattoo guy for a while. And his big thing was The Simpsons. And I don't even know. This might be part his stuff. I don't know who Cohen James is. If those are eulogies or whatever. But this is good.
Mike, what's your opinion on this back piece?
First off, as a gentleman who has sexy Ned Flanders tattooed on him, I am 100% into anything Simpsons.
Right.
It looks like good solid saturation. So Marge, just alone on her, that light green color is pretty difficult to pack that solid. So the fact that this dude just took it slow and steady and just put it in there,
Wow.
That's super impressive. I'll be honest with you, man. This was probably about 60, 70 hours just in this back piece.
Wow.
Now, you don't do that, obviously, like all at once. So I would say he probably got like the shoulder blades done in 2 separate sessions. Probably all the characters, he probably started at his butt and just slowly packed them from bottom to top. But dude, that crushes. That thing is sweet.
That dude's gonna be buried face down.
Yeah.
He's got to go the Yakuza route where they just cut it off when he dies.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing.
Make a
I guess my
handbag out of
last
it.
question for you, and it's to your benefit. Tattoos and people decorate. I personally feel like it's just a decoration of your own body. Personally, in many cases, for me, journal entries or whatever. I have yet to have a regret for the ones I had when I was 18, all the way up to as of pretty recently. What's your take on the world of tattoos? Do you think obviously this is your business, but it used to be super like us band guys in bikers back in the day, but now it's like now grandma's getting lilacs on her ovaries or something. What's your take on the whole tattoo culture, and what do you see it? What's happening? What do you see it to be projected into the future?
Well, so it's kind of a catch-22, right? So, and as in anything that's super cool, the more popularity it gains, it starts to lose a little bit of its gusto. So you get the people that are true like fans of tattooing that will always be around, always getting tattooed. But I think you start to get people, who don't really belong getting tattooed. And what I mean by that is they don't really care about the art. They just want to impress Sue, who's the next soccer mom over. And, Sue got a tattoo, so now I'm going to get a tattoo. So it's one of those things like Miami Ink and the TV shows Ink Master. They all helped bring tattooing from this like back alley scary thing to the forefront. And it was like, yo, everybody can get tattooed. We're just a bunch of art nerds, right? We're not like some scary people that are raping and pillaging in our spare time.
Sure, you think so?
Yes.
Thank you for that compliment.
Woo-hoo.
But I think honestly, if you love tattoos and you just love collecting art, it's a great way to bring those things together. When you handcuff a business with an art form, the scary part is that you get bastardization on both sides, right? So you get bastardization from the client who's like, I don't really understand this. I just want to get it done because that's the thing to do right now. But then you get bastardization on the artist end where it's like, I don't really care whether you want it and you really want something special. I'm just going to put this on your skin. So I think you're going to see a huge uptick in the amount of people getting tattooed for probably the next 5-10 years. But then I think you're going to see it fall off. And I think you're going to see a lot of tattoo shops close because of that. And the cats that love this industry and are super passionate about it will be the ones left behind.
What do you think about people that bring in their art to have tattooed?
Totally depends. So like a new trend is like get your grandmother's signature on your arm, or my grandmother wrote me this letter 10 years ago and now I want that tattooed on me. For me, that is 100% no compromise. I need to do this line for line perfect, right? I have to do that exact thing the way you brought it in because it's your grandmother's.
Yeah.
I can't take artistic liberty with that. I'll do little things like your spacing on the letters is a little bit off, or it looks like there's a little too much kerning between letters or something like that.
That's the designer, but you're still adhering to what they put on the. But like a guy that does,
and I'll ask, you know what I mean? I'll ask straight up. Do you want me to straighten this out, or do you want me to keep it as is? I personally am the cat where it's like keep it as is, right? But
yeah,
as an artist,
you want something to go verbatim.
Exactly.
Well, it's because I have stuff that I want done to myself. I need to figure out if the person can translate my shitty artwork onto my shitty arm without feeling bad about what they've done.
So that's the great thing with with the iPads now, right? Is I can physically take a photo of your arm. I can physically take your artwork and lay it over top, and I can walk you through. This is why this will work. This is why this won't work. And we have a conversation. Without being too crude, this is the closest thing to sex that two people can do where both leave changed.
Now, that's one thing I want to bring up in Mike's shop too, is he has all that technology where on an iPad he goes through almost everything even before it's printed off to be the stencil or whatever. I mean, your whole thing is impressive. It's like state of the art, maybe, I don't know, but
state of the art's a good way to put a lot of stuff.
Like it.
So yes.
Well, the big thing for me is I'm an over communicator, especially when it comes to tattooing. And some people get it and some people get annoyed by it, but I would much rather us talk it out. And if you're like, yo, you're not the artist for me, okay.
It's like therapy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be that cat where I'm like a salesman, right? I don't want to pressure you into coming and getting tattooed. I just want you to get tattooed because you like my art. Like it's that simple.
All
right. Julio's got a last question here. Trademark issues. Say for an example, if someone wants a tattoo of a product or logo, that's a great question.
So funny that you asked this because we just looked at the Simpsons one. There's no trademark copyright on that specifically. Ink Master actually got sued the opposite way. It wasn't about a trademark logo like Mickey Mouse or something like that. But on the opposite end, it was actually another tattooer had drawn this tattoo, and then an artist from Ink Master tattooed it on a different person. So they stole it, right? And that artist never got any money for it, but she made a huge stink about it, and they set a precedence about it. So when The Hangover came over, and Ed Helms got the Mike Tyson around his eye, the artist that did Mike Tyson's tattoo sued The Hangover and won. Wow. Because that precedence existed now.
I've got Mike Tyson's whatever.
But the actual tribal was the exact same as the artist, and because it was Mike Tyson, he could say, "Look, this is 100% stolen because of this," and they make reference to that it's Mike Tyson's, right?
Tribal.
So
he's going to show up and beat our asses.
An undisclosed amount of money.
Yeah. Well, folks, we have reached the hour once again. Time has passed like nobody's business.
Mike, are you taking new clients?
Yeah, so I think I'm currently booking July.
Booking in July for Mike. Everybody, come on, get your Panda on.
And you're in the at least in our area. You guys,
who gives a crap if you're not in our area? Drive.
Yeah, this was an awesome episode. I've been talking with him about getting him on to do this specifically for a long time. I'm so happy this worked out, man. I really appreciate it. There is some good chuckles and some good funnies, but also packed with a lot of great information of kind of destigmatizing and getting some really good information on tattooing. So folks, this might be one of those ones that you can just other things when we do dick and fart shit, don't share that with grandma and whomever.
Dick and fart shit, grandma.
But this is a really good one that if people are, thinking about tattoos, and Ink and Iron has a Facebook and also a website. You can easily find it. Ink and Iron, just throw the word Toledo in there. And I bet you Mike would be happy within reason to even answer people's questions if you're not around here, as long as they're simple. We're not doing critiques or anything, but if somebody has a legitimate health concern or anything like that, Mike's an expert in the field. You can also send that to us, and we can also relay that to
you. Tattoo the Dr. Manhattan symbol on my forehead.
Julio says, I'm going to go to Toledo, buy a guitar, get a tattoo someday.
And go to lunch with the Simple Blasphemy guys.
We're going out to lunch.
Julio, we're going to come to you, buddy. You just let us know.
Yeah.
Well, he's in Vancouver, so...
Well, when we can go.
I mean, that sounds awesome to me. When we can, yeah.
No wrong. Green, you didn't get final thoughts on?
No, I'm trying to. I'm sorry. I feel like a fucking asshole, fucking trying to remember that fucking definition that the fucking tattoo parlor had on the fucking wall, and I fucking got it completely wrong. Exactly why you should get somebody else to fucking fill this fucking seat.
No,
man.
you can always take a picture.
No, I
Zach
looked it
Green,
up and it. Fuck it.
You can fill my seat whenever
I'm not
you feel like it, buddy.
talker, man. I fucking thought I remembered something. I threw the word infection, and I think it was implementation in there. I'm sorry. I made you look fucking bad.
No,
I feel bad, dude.
Dude,
there's so many fucking
bad.
better people that could fucking do this.
Hey,
No.
Green, when was the last tattoo you got?
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't fucking matter.
It does.
Nah. I'm done, man.
Did you get an ass hat? Do you have an ice cream cone coming out of your butt?
All right, well, folks,
I'm out.
we have a pretty big.
I'm sorry. Hey, Panda, thanks for being on, man. It was awesome. I'm sorry for fucking up that one bit.
Oh, don't worry. We have a pretty big major announcement next week, folks. So you want to stay tuned for that. Amanda's on.
We said Vancouver. He says New Hampshire.
Huge announcement of a guest that's coming on. So you want to tune in, and from there, Mike, thank you once again, and we'll be in touch.
Thanks, brother. It's nice
Have a great week,
on.
guys.
Nice hanging out with you guys.
Hell yeah. We'll be in touch, man.